call a lens flare?
Damn it! We gotta go!
I didn't say!
Why are you not reacting?
First off, I don't even know why you're screaming. Second off, why is she here?
I live here, David. And is now really the right time?
I don't know. No one's even told me what's happening yet.
You're right. We need to focus on what's important.
Exactly. Okay, so about 2 hours ago, aliens came down to planet Earth and they are abducting people with a blue light all over the world. So don't look at the light, whatever you do, or you will go up into space and get sucked into the spaceship.
I'm not sure what you're talking about. I'm referring to this. I found this on the counter upstairs, and you know what? It's still warm. So y'all need to tell me something right now.
Okay, again, is now the time.
Yes!
Okay, all right. It sounds like there are equal issues going on. Babies, aliens. So what's the game plan?
Okay, I propose that
We
we
go upstairs, and we sit on the couch, and we watch a movie.
No, we have to go. The aliens are coming for us. They could be on their way here right now.
For what it's worth, I vote for the couch idea. Sounds good.
Fine. Stay here. I don't even care. Just die.
Why is she so emotional?
Women.
We watched the movie today!
Skyline.
Skyline!
Skyline.
It's a...
Dark Heart.
It is a special effects movie from 2010.
It's our own kaiju movies.
I guess.
Certain parts.
Certain parts.
We got behemoths.
Like, I'd still like to give that more to Cloverfield and Pacific Rim than I would this. Those feel more like kaiju movies.
And also Gears of War and Halo and Mass Effect.
None of those really movies.
Yeah, but at the same time, though...
Oh, this ripped them off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As I said constantly, there was always one game or another that was like, this is Halo.
Oh, no.
This is game.
Well, I want you to understand the word constantly here is used in a literal sense.
Yeah.
It was like every scene change was just like, this is this game. This is this game. Stop it.
And this movie came out in 2010.
Yes.
So...
Knowing how much post-production there was, it was probably recorded around like 2008, 2009.
I don't know, honestly. I'm going to try to figure that out.
You figure that out.
So, get into the plot.
All right, plot. So, we are introduced to Lane, known as Laney, and the other guy. And they are on a plane going to visit their super rich friend out in L.A. What does he do? Is he a rapper? Is he an artist?
Is he a rapper?
He is a FX specialist. So somebody on deck was sucking their own dick right in that script. He's played by Donald Faison, who you may know as Turk from Scrubs. There are some other names in this, but I don't recognize that many of them. So he gets there and he's like, hey man, welcome to LA. It's super great here, super awesome. And they're all throwing a party, just hanging out. And then the guy lets drop is like, hey, you should probably join our team. Or no, I'm so glad you're joining our team. Welcome to LA.
Yeah.
And the wife's like, excuse me?
What?
This was not part of the plan. So he's like, whoa, I didn't know anything about this. He's like, oh, don't you understand? I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
So that's
gotta have that lead up.
Yeah.
Make sure that's all legit.
Yeah. So taken off the table that they're able to stay in LA. But
I like to also mention that the directors of this movie, the only sci-fi movie they did before this was Alien vs. Predator Requiem. And before that, their big claim to fame was a bunch of Nickelback music videos.
Hey-o! That's great.
And right before they did this one, they did Usher Lovin' This Club in 08.
Oh, wow.
Guys.
It was a popular song. Anyway, so...
they also apparently did visual effects for San
Okay,
Andreas,
I need to finish this book.
No, you don't.
So
really? You don't really have to.
Well, okay, I guess I don't need to mention the big part of literally aliens. They drop in that night 4:30 in the morning, blue lights descend on LA.
Blue lights.
And anyone who looks at them are basically abducted. They can be pulled back, but they are essentially all abducted. What's the name of the dude? What's the name of the main boyfriend?
Jared.
Jared, that's right. But except it's spelled weird. It's Jarrod. It's weird.
Yes.
So Jared is...
And Turk. Turk's in this.
I said that.
It's okay. We have to remind him again.
So he's almost pulled into the
I hope he
light.
got paid a lot.
He's almost pulled into the light! And he's pulled back by his friends, and they're just like, okay, so what the fuck happened out there? The one friend gets killed. He was barely important at that point, so whatever. And they look out, and they're just like, okay, so there are aliens, and we should probably go. And they look out. They go up on the roof, and they're just like, okay, well, what do you see? Oh, literally aliens descending on the city, and just a whole bunch of ships coming out. And they're like, get inside, get inside, get inside, get inside. So they get inside. They get inside, and they're like, okay, so shit's kind of crazy, but they're all over land. So, us being in LA, let's just go to the water. That's like right over there. I'm rich, therefore I have a boat. We can hop on the boat, go out to sea, and we'll escape this somehow. So they're like, okay, nope, that's a good plan. Let's do that. So we're going to take some cars, we're going to drive down to the pier, we're going to get out of here.
What about food?
Nah, that's not part, ignore that.
What about fresh water?
This is a 5-minute ahead plan. We can do this. So they hop in the car. They're driving out of the parking garage. They come across a couple that are also escaping. It's like, Dad, don't worry. We got it. Take care of yourselves. We're good. And they get out of the thing. And the moment they leave, the moment they hit sunlight, this giant behemoth alien crushes the car, kills Donald Faison, kills a woman that he was having an affair with. By the way, he was having an affair with his secretary, and his wife found out. And that was a whole big thing beforehand. Whatever.
Because photos.
Yes, of course. So then they all start trying to get back into the building. The couple that they met straight up dies almost immediately afterwards by having his brain ripped out of his body and used to power the alien suit thing.
Something. Think like Independence Day, the way that the little aliens control the bigger alien suits.
But the brains control them. Human brains.
So Futurama,
I guess. So they come up with a plan, which is still essentially get to the boat, but their path takes them just kind of around the courtyard, back into the building, and right back into the same apartment they were in. So we made a net gain of 0 over half an hour of movie here.
And a couple deaths, couple unbelievably pointless deaths.
Yep. So then second day, the military gets involved. They fire a nuke at the big ship. It goes down, but it's essentially the same as whacking a beehive with a bat. You don't kill all the bees, you piss them off. And they're
just really pissed off.
Yeah, I think that was a line. And
Angel.
They all, the guy who played Angel from the TV show Dexter.
Yeah.
David Zayas.
For some reason, as David found that this is one of his most known credits.
Yeah, which is sad.
This is really sad, yeah, because
it's most known,
he's not even really in this that
most
much.
Most known movie credits, I'll give it.
Yeah, but he's not even really in this that much. And of course he tries to have his badass moment at the end. And
it just kind of fails.
I loved it, actually. I loved the self-awareness of that scene.
So, over the course of the thing, because Jared's been looking at the light so much, he's, infected. He's got, something fucked up with him, where he's got alien powers now. And Elaine's also been looking at the light.
Species.
But she doesn't seem to have any sort of special powers or anything like that. So
because she's a woman.
Yeah.
She doesn't get special powers.
Well,
the dude does.
So it comes out to they're like, okay, military's arrived, there's a chopper on a roof, let's get to them and they can evac us out. And it's like, okay, but there are literally flying alien ships everywhere. How do we counteract that? It's like, okay, plan, we don't, and we just run for it.
We just go.
Oh,
let's just go.
So two of them.
I'm getting edgy, man. Let's get the fuck out of here, man.
Elaine and Jared, they go and try to do this. The wife of Turk's character and the Angel, they stay behind. They're killed by a light that's right outside the window that the wife ends up seeing, and Angel's caught in the crossfire of. The other couple manages to make it up to the roof, but they are attacked by one of the Sentinel robots.
Yeah.
And so they brought an axe as their only weapon. And they actually managed to take down the alien Sentinel via an axe and punching it to death.
Yeah.
He The nuke doesn't kill them, but he punches it to death. Okay.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it. It's like the fucking fridge scene in Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no goddamn sense, but it's stupid and it's fun.
So the movie ends with they didn't get the evac. They are pulled up into the alien ship. They're like, yo, we fucking failed. Everything here fucking failed. And they're pulled up in the ship.
Now we're in the wet place.
And in the last 5 minutes of the movie, they're in the alien ship. Jared, his brain is ripped out and it's put into the vat. But all of the other brains have this blue glow to them, as all the aliens have a blue glow. Their lights are blue.
They have their own little color scheme.
But his brain is glowing red for some reason. And when his brain gets put into one of like the Sentinel robot things to power it, he's got that moment where he's like, no, I am not an animal.
I am a man.
And he keeps his humanity, and he starts just ripping the fuck out of the place. He goes to his wife, which was put in, because the alien scanned her and realized she was pregnant, she was put in like a birthing chamber, but I think it was more of a, we're going to rip the baby out of you and like...
Experiment kind of chamber?
Experiment on it. But then he saved his wife, and it's him, like, he shows it like he's still here, he's still in the body. And then it shows like all these aliens surrounding him, and then cut to credits. That was it. That was the movie. That was Skyline!
Woo! Woo! Woo!
So,
apparently, I don't know how true this is
Yeah.
and whatnot, because you always have to take IMDb trivia with a grain of salt. But apparently, the filming of this movie cost about $500,000, and the rest of the movie was the special effects budget.
that doesn't surprise me.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
No.
But honestly, it surprises me that the rest of the movie cost $500,000 to make. I don't see it.
I'm sure it was mostly...
Do you know that every single one of the Saw movies was under $10 million?
This has come up several times.
And I'm going to continue doing it. It's a movie that was able to up the ante and still remain... I don't know. Maybe I'll look at, like, you know, the I don't know. It's... As a special effects movie, it's not bad.
Which, let's be clear here.
It's built around as
It
a
is
special
built
effects
around
film.
it. This is not about the story. This is not about a character drama.
No, it's
this is all
spectacle.
about spectacle.
Yeah, absolutely. And it honestly, like...
There's one point when they say the military arrives and they're, like, dropping the bomber and all that. Like, they're showing the entire air battle on a TV screen through a telescope. Like, that's perfectly focused on the bomber.
But the guy is, like, not moving this thing around at all. It's just always just fixed.
Fixed in one place. He's like, oh, jeez, oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah, and we talked about this during the film itself. One thing that I think that really did the movie a disservice is the fact that I know it's a B film. I know it's built around the special effects. But the problem is you have your characters being so fucking passive.
Yeah.
That they were so reactionary that everything was happening in and around them. Now, first, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. Because initially, I didn't have a problem with that.
Yeah.
Is the fact that the story of these characters never actually went anywhere.
See, my thing, like, the good point to compare it to is Cloverfield. Because it's a very similar sort of story. A giant monster attacks out of nowhere, and it's a bunch of people trying to survive through the city. The difference being is that the characters in Cloverfield had an agency. They were going to get their friend who was trapped in a building. That was they actively had to make choices to get them there and face the problems along the way.
Yeah.
These characters, their whole thing was, we have to get out of the city. But then, literally, at the beginning of the second day, there is a time lapse of just them sitting around doing nothing.
Yeah.
And just
drinking.
Like, just
shit.
drinking and just like, well, fuck it, we tried. Oh well.
It reminds me of was it this is at the end or
This Is the End?
This is the end, the Seth Rogen
Yeah,
movie
This Is the End.
and whatnot. They're like, the each day, let's do all of the drugs. Like, and but I even found.
By the way, this whole thing was 3 days.
3 days.
There was day one, which was just kind of like, all the stuff happened and they do the whole first escape attempt. Second day, the military gets involved and they get abducted. Third day, it just shows that, hey, this happened all over the world and there never was a safe place, and the main characters just wake up in the wet place.
And it's the same argument in every fucking scene.
Do you know what's going on out there?
We gotta get out of here.
But do you know what's going on out there?
But we gotta get out of
But
here.
do you know what's going on out there?
Do you even know?
Well, you got me there. Let's get out of here.
Basically. And it keeps going on this cycle in a way that it never progresses. Even like, so let's say, for instance, like when we were first watching them trying to get out of there, you know, they're going, car gets smashed.
Yep.
The fact that the character survived after that.
That's the passenger side. He's fine.
Yeah, like he walked out without a scratch, and then he still fucking ended up dying,
They have, let's be clear, there are mechanical tentacles, which the Sentinels have, which is just kind of like the things from the Matrix movies.
Yeah.
Where it's those kind of mechanical.
Then they have fleshy
tentacles.
tentacles.
Have fleshy tentacles, which, like Spider-Man, web out, and then
mouth inside the hand and whatnot.
And swallow them whole.
It's very... Like, the giant Sentinels look like Cthulhu.
Yeah.
You know, they got all, like, the tentacle mouths and everything like that, which, honestly, I don't understand why it's even designed that way, because they're not giant aliens. They're just shells. They're basically giant, like, organic tanks.
That's just it, though. They're organic, so it's what makes you wonder. Like, it's entirely alien biology.
But the aliens are able to sit inside them and control them. So, like, it's maybe, like, I don't know. Like, maybe it's like, I've been reading a lot of Lovecraft lately, so as a result, like, you know, there's one thing that you have.
Well, it reminds me of what is it? Ridley Scott's Engineers from the Alien reboot movies, Prometheus and all that.
I have not seen Prometheus.
Well, there's one part in there where they show
I know, right?
They show the space jockey from the first Alien movie, that big that hulky thing, and it turns out that it was just an engineer that was inside of that thing. Like, you thought that thing was the thing, but it turned out that it was actually something inside of it. Like, what if this, they didn't think this through. I guarantee you they didn't think this through.
This film is built on spectacle, but even then, it doesn't really do anything with the spectacle. There's so many fucking lens flares in this.
Perfect example
I'm surprised Abrams didn't produce it.
Perfect example of them, the spectacle being all there was that the opening scene is them, during the initial invasion, the light comes down and all that, and then we have the flashback 15 hours earlier. But when they come to that scene again, they point out how the friend who didn't really matter, he disappeared. He didn't get pulled up tractor beam style. He just disappeared, and they show entire TV studios are emptied, entire that. It makes you think people were basically raptured. They were just there one second, not there the next. But every next time that we saw them, it was people being tractor beamed up.
Yeah.
It's okay, well, are they being tractor beamed? Are they being just warped in there? What is happening?
One of the major problems with the film is the fact that it never is able to abide by its own rules.
No.
It's able to when it comes down to alien abduction movies, I have a very wide range of acceptability when it comes down to details of all the shit that goes on here. But at the same time, though, you need to be able to maintain consistency. Mm-hmm. And I don't think the movie does that particularly well.
Not at all. There's plenty of points. It starts out with the lights. And you think, these things are going to be an abstract sort of life form, the light-based, you can't even imagine their own true form because they're just a ball of light.
And then it moves on to the Sentinels.
But then it moves on to the ships where you're oh, this is just giant war class ships. But then it sends out little pods, and you're okay, well, these are just small ships. But then it has the behemoths, which are just biological creatures. Yeah. You're okay, so what is your
And then you have the Sentinels, then you have the foot soldiers.
Yeah. So it just has this whole 8 different races of creatures all used in the exact same way, all striving towards the same goal, which, hey, maybe by the time that we're spacefaring creatures, we're going to have 8 different types of humans, all that look entirely different.
Well, also they have different types of I guess you could say susceptibility or weaknesses.
Which is, again, another consistency issue. You can drop a nuke on a ship and it works, and it doesn't kill the small fries.
But it doesn't even work because they start rebuilding the ship in that instant.
But then fists and an axe can take down
superpowered fists. Somehow can take down. Well, he obviously
has some sort of powers, yes. But how strong? The only amount of strength
went nowhere.
The only amount of strength we ever saw him have was he lifted one guy off the ground one-handed. Which, don't get me wrong, strong, but that's Mr. Universe level strong. That's not superpower strong.
Yeah.
So I don't even know how strong he really was, but apparently it was enough to break through the shell of a tank.
it doesn't even set it up for what actually is happening to Jared particularly well. You have that cliche scene where he goes to the next room and he pulls the shirt and he sees whatever's going on with them, and of course the loved one walks in and is like, oh, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. You have to trust me.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll totally trust you even though you're acting really weird.
And then there's the part where he totally freaks out on the dude who's like, we just have to stay here. He's like, I'm leaving with my family. And he just turns around to his wife like, oh, it's still me.
It's still me.
It's still me.
You have to trust me.
It's just me.
We need to stay together.
Family.
You need to do what I say. Like, oh my god, I fucking hated this movie.
Yeah.
And actually, let me rephrase. There were parts of it that I did have fun with. There are, like, the effects, honestly, aren't bad for a lower budget sci-fi film.
I mean, that's where all the money went. So
yeah, and that's the thing. Like, apparently, like, $10 million went into the post-production budget. Mm-hmm. So, Marvel, take a note from Skyline. You can please pump in some budget into your special effects, and not just shipping around to 6 to 10 different places. Disney. Just saying.
The views expressed in Ship Flicks are not necessarily the views expressed by both hosts simultaneously.
Fuck his views. I don't care.
All right,
it's
so...
but I think that's the main point of the movie is the fact that this film entirely was raised without any other production help except through the brothers who directed this.
No, like...
the executive producer, Brett Ratner. That's an interesting... Yeah, that's an interesting fucking choice.
How'd I miss that?
Yeah, but of course this was 2010 Brett Ratner before
Still.
all of his sleazy bullshit became, publicly known.
Even then, man.
Yeah, but then he was just a piece of shit anyway.
Anyway, but no, okay.
Hi, Brett.
So we talked about special effects and the aliens and stuff like that. Let's just real quick hop around. So the acting.
Jump around.
Do you think people A, when they're in their scenes just talking to other people did well, and B, do you think they reacted to the special effects appropriately?
Sometimes. There were definite moments where I was like, okay, they're like the random man and woman they met in the parking garage that just lasted 30 seconds and then became fodder for the aliens again. It was
there to show how the brain pulling worked.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
Yeah, and then it's just like, oh, giant behemoth, oh, scream, oh, tentacles, oh, getting eaten by the hand, oh. I'm like, I get it. I really do get it. And those parts of it are fun, but I think one of the reasons why kaiju movies or alien invasion movies like this kind of work, like, because there's a lot of, I think, like, the two biggest influence you could definitely see is, like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers and War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. But as a result of that, though, you have that spectacle involved with it. And I don't need answers. I don't need answers on how everything works and what the aliens are doing. I understand cosmic horror. I understand the unknown is what makes it scary. But the problem is that you didn't give us anything to root for with the main cast.
Yeah. I
did not care what happened to these characters. They were all very vapid. They were shallow. They were uninteresting. And that isn't to say that there aren't plenty of B sci-fi films that have shitty-ass protagonists leading us through a whole bunch of different spectacle scenes. And one of the best examples is Them, which is all about giant ants.
Right.
That was a stupid-ass movie, but it was fun. Maybe we could look back on Skyline, 30 years from now and say, this is a campy, wonderful little snapshot of what 2010 special effects were. Because also, this was the year right after Avatar came out. So big special effects movies was becoming extremely popular during that time.
So for me, I
that was only 9 years ago.
I think that the biggest thing for me is the protagonist, like, the whole starting part of, they're going to the party and they're meeting with the guy and they're doing all that stuff. It's supposed to get you to be relating to the characters. It's supposed to get you to care about them. And they do the whole thing.
I think it's also the Cloverfield thing, because Cloverfield came out in 2008.
They literally did that party scene too.
That's in the very beginning. Though I will say Cloverfield at least had the decency to put gorillas on the soundtrack.
I never saw Battle Los Angeles.
Neither have I, but
never saw it. But
these directors on that special effects team.
It seems like it's going to be very similar to that. Anyway, but what I wanted to say was that I don't. I feel like they meant that scene to be a like, oh yeah, it's getting to know the characters and all that, and like they introduced the stakes of like, oh, she's pregnant, oh, he's doing that, just to give you some feeling, and like the affair and all that sort of stuff. But when it came down to when the like actual plot happened, none of that stuff played in.
Nothing ever mattered.
It didn't matter that she was pregnant. They tried to tie it in once, where due to the stress, the wife was smoking, and she's like, "Could you please not smoke?" And he's like, "Oh, I think I earned it now." I was like, "I'm pregnant." Oh, thank God you brought it back. Thank God you brought it back.
Yeah, and they don't do anything with anything else either way.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for a fact that this movie did have a sequel. It did come out in 2017.
Yep.
But other than that, nothing really about this movie sets up anything that it relies on at the end of it.
I mean, the only thing that the sequel could go off of, based off of what this movie set up, is her pregnancy.
Yeah.
Her kid. Because, like, Jared is dead. Everyone is dead.
Well, Jared's
No, but, like, Jared as a person is dead.
He's no longer human.
He's in the Sentinel
We
body.
put our foot down.
So, Jared's in the Sentinel body. She has a baby that is
She's got a baby.
She's got a baby. And that's all that they can really go off of for the next movie. So the entire affair subplot, the entire moving to Los
all
Angeles,
of them are dead.
Setting up. I mean, we don't even know how much of society is left at this point. We have no concept of was like 50% of people taken, or 90% of people taken. Are they literally the last 4 people in all of Los Angeles? We have no concept of that.
I don't even need to see a post-apocalyptic world to make that work. I mean, what was it? 28 Days Later did a really good job about barely showing anything. And I think that worked really well. Yeah. And I don't know. I can't really compare this to great films like that.
But like 28 Days Later, they did the thing where it's, stereotypically very busy streets, all like littered with papers and stuff like that.
All empty.
It gives the sense that the world is empty. This one, because we're so stuck in one location, you never get the vibe of... We never even see, like, busy highways completely being empty. We see... It's only the one building that we see, and we... Pretty much the one room within that one building.
And I wouldn't have necessarily minded that, because there are movies that are able to make sorts of genuine tension in these particular films without having to use a multitude of different locations. Room was really good with that because it was all one location for the first part of it. But that's the thing, and it goes back to the.
It was even an extremely large room at that. It was an entire floor of a place. So.
It was like. Yeah, the apartment here was huge, and you had many options to be able to work with it and change the character dynamics and see how people react under pressure, but people just sat there and fucking pouted.
Like we said at the beginning, it's because this wasn't a character movie. This was a special effects movie. Yeah. So it was never going to be their focus.
But that's the problem. If it's going to be a special effects movie, you cannot contain it into one room with all these people for an hour and a half, because... That's not how that works.
Right, let's just move.
It's like the problem I had with the first Godzilla film that from was it 2013, 2014?
Yeah, the first one.
It's like that one I didn't care at all about the main character whatsoever, because I wanted to see the monsters fight, and it was preventing me from seeing the monsters fight. And that's really what kind of happened here too.
All right, so final thoughts.
Yeah,
I'll go first. So, final thoughts on this. It's a B movie. Like, I don't know if they ever expected it to do really, really well, but it was entirely just like, we just got special effects and aliens and whatever. Here we go. Send that out. So I don't know what I was supposed to make of it. If I was supposed to expect it to be better than it was, but
was I supposed to have fun?
For what I got, I was just like, wow, this is a lot of stupid decisions on both the characters and the filmmakers' parts.
This is dumb.
Yeah, this is dumb. That's pretty much what it all boils down to. Special effects, totally fine, totally great. But I'm not looking for, like, the fact that it ends on a cliffhanger. I'm like, I don't need a Skyline universe, it's not the
Skyverse.
It's not on my list of things I want in cinema. So overall, I'd say this is the kind of movie you'd put on if, like, you just need to have something on in, like, a party or something.
Yeah,
and
no one's actually watching.
Yeah, no one's actually watching it. It's just like, oh wow, that's cool. Anyway, so what was Cambodia like?
I mean, I'm the same way. I would even take it a step further and say that the special effects are not even really, like, they're not even all that great. Mainly because so much of it relies on fucking light and lens flares. I'm like, oh, well, the effects aren't bad if you can't fucking see it, right? But unfortunately, that's not the case here. I didn't enjoy this production enough in order to make me feel, oh, this is so bad, it's good, I'm enjoying everything about it. I'm just like, this is all the shit that it's ripping off, and I'd rather be watching and or playing that.
Yeah.
It's really kind of a waste of time, and I really actually kind of expected more of this because of the reputation that it had. So I feel like I was let down because I wanted more cheese, and I didn't get the cheese.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's it.
That's it, man.
All right, so those are our thoughts on
Skyline.
Maybe we should have left with
Cat.
I'm more of a dog person.
No. David, aliens, come on.
Wait, hold on. Before we die,
We're not gonna die.
I mean, we're probably gonna die. I have to let you know, it's your baby,
I know.
but it's also my baby.
What?
I'm the one who took the test. I'm pregnant.
What?
Made possible by contributions from viewers like you. Thank you.